How did the CIA and U.S. Special Forces pull off one of the most daring aviation thefts in history, stealing a secret Soviet attack helicopter right under enemy noses? The answer is preparation. Months of it. They didn't rely on a single aircraft, but two MH-47 Chinook heavy-lift helicopters. Every non-essential component was stripped out to maximize lifting power. To simulate the weight of the target helicopter, crews practiced sling-loading hundreds of gallons of water, matching the exact mass of a Soviet Mi-24 attack helicopter, a flying tank weighing over 8,500 kilograms. These rehearsals weren't casual training flights. The Chinooks flew night missions across the United States, refueling mid-route from C-130 aircraft, pushing crews and machines to their limits. The goal was simple: prove that a helicopter could carry another helicopter over extreme distances, in hostile conditions, without detection. The target was the Mi-24 Hind, also known in export form as the Mi-25, one of the most feared attack helicopters of the Cold War. This opportunity emerged from the Toyota War between Chad and Libya during the late 1980s. Using fast, lightly armed Toyota pickup trucks, Chadian forces defeated Libyan units equipped with Soviet tanks and helicopters. As Libyan troops fled, they abandoned vast amounts of military hardware, including an intact Mi-25 in northern Chad. For the United States, this was a once-in-a-generation intelligence prize. In April 1988, Company E began final mission preparations. Two MH-47DS were disassembled, loaded into a C-5 Galaxy transport, and flown to New Mexico to simulate African distances and desert conditions. One Chinook sling-loaded 6 massive water tanks, over 500 gallons each, flying night routes around white sands while refueling mid-air. When the test succeeded, the green light was given. On May 21, 1988, the execution order arrived. The final challenge was bringing everything home. The Mi-24 was loaded nose-first into a C-5 Galaxy, followed by the partially dismantled Chinooks. With aerial refueling, the massive transport crossed the Atlantic non-stop, landing safely at Fort Campbell. Operation Mount Hope III was complete. Against extreme weight, enemy proximity, navigation limits, and a violent sandstorm, the United States had captured one of the Cold War's most valuable aerial prizes, a fully operational Soviet flying tank. And they did it without firing a single shot. By mid-June, the Chinooks and more than 60 crew members were flown non-stop to Chad. At midnight on June 11, the helicopters launched on a 550-mile night flight across the Sahara. Lacking aerial refueling capability, engineers had installed an internal fuel system rolled in through the rear ramp that added 600 gallons of fuel and over 5,000 pounds of extra weight. Navigation was primitive by modern standards. Crews relied on Omega radio signals and Doppler radar while flying over featureless desert in total darkness. At dawn, sunlight reflected off a remote airstrip near the Libyan border. The Chinooks landed beside the Mi-24, dangerously close to enemy forces. Special operators quickly secured the helicopter. Its massive rotor blades were too large to transport by sling, so they were flown separately by C-130. Using dual-hook systems rated for high-speed external loads, the Chinooks lifted the Soviet helicopter and began the return journey. Without the internal fuel system, they were forced to land twice to refuel, once at a forward arming point and again at a French Foreign Legion base, each stop requiring the Mi-24 to be carefully set down, unhooked, refueled, and reattached. Then came the most dangerous moment. Just 45 minutes from their destination, a massive sandstorm rose behind them, nearly 3,000 feet high. Normally, helicopters would climb above it. But carrying a flying tank underneath made that impossible. The pilots slowed, separated for safety, and soon lost both radio contact and visual sight of each other. With the storm closing fast, one crew raced for the airfield and landed seconds before the wall of sand hit. Moments later, the second Chinook burst out of the storm and landed without even turning into the wind. For 20 minutes, the crews remained inside as sand battered the aircraft. When it was over, everything was coated in grit, but the mission had succeeded.